Okay, so I bought these BC Racing coilovers, as you can see right here. And one of the main things that I was able to pick up from the internet when buying these as cautions was that some of them clunked when driving over their speed bumps and such. And what I was able to read and understand is that it is the top mount bearing that usually causes the clunk. Otherwise, it can also be things such as the spring preload. I'm gonna show that later in the video to make sure my spring preload is set correctly. However, I'll talk to a guy online that also he has the same car as me, a Volvo V40, and he sent me pictures of his bearings. They were 6 months old, but they were completely shot. They were so rusted, it was insane. And so, as you can see on these bearings, they are completely exposed here, opposed to this bearing that I've put into this top mount. As you can see, it has this blue weather stripe. It protects the bearing from having moisture and other debris enter inside of it. This one, however, does not have it. As you can see, it is completely exposed. And so it's also not rust proof, so it's gonna rust very quickly, very fast, and you're not gonna have a good time. It's gonna start to clunk. This one both has the weather stripping and it's rust proof. The only reason you wouldn't want to have this weather stripping here is because it's plastic or a very hard rubber, and it's gonna melt if you have it in some sort of heat application close to your brakes, for example. However, since this one sits something like this in the top of the coilover, it's not going to experience any heat or heat transfer from anywhere, so it's not gonna be okay. So what I used to remove the bearing in this one was a tool similar to this. So first I tried to find a socket that was big enough to fit over this hole, because if you do that, you can actually just put this in here, one of the top mount components. And so if you have a socket that is big enough, you can actually just hammer this out, you'll get the bearing out. But I couldn't find a socket that was that big, but I did find this in a garage. So we'll remove this, the plastic ring, and then use this top mount right here, put it over like that, and then I just put pressure on it basically, and pushed it out this way, and it worked really well. However, what I'm gonna do this time, as you can see right here, it did get a little bit scuffed here as well. However, as you can see on the coilovers, you can't really, I mean, it's right here, you can't really see the damage once the coilovers are in the car, so I guess it doesn't matter. But to prevent that, I have some textile tape that I'm going to put onto the tool with its edges, just to protect this a little bit at least. But at the end of the day, it probably doesn't matter, since you're not going to be able to see it anyways. But yeah, let's get right into it. Okay, so what I did was put some textile tape over these edges so that it's not as rough. And after that, you basically take the bearing, put it upside down, you put this top mount part in underneath, just like this, and then just flip it upside down, try to hold it all together, put the arms in between, and then something like that. And then what I did was I just tightened it up here like so it's a little bit more snug. I'm gonna be opening up so I can put this piece of cloth in between. It's not really necessary, but I don't want to damage the tool's threads right here. So we'll see how well this works. So this is not this is probably not the best way to remove this bearing. However, these tools are super cheap. They're like 10 euros at your local parts store. So, and then I'm just gonna hold it like this and twist it, and we'll see what happens. Bearing is starting to come out. There we go. Holy shit. That went super quick. Okay, so yeah, that's all it took to get it out. It was actually really easy. I was a little bit afraid I wasn't gonna get it out with my hand strength when I first did this, but yeah, no, it's no problem. Yeah, so the cloth, honestly, it didn't do a whole lot. I tried to find some like metal plate or something, but I couldn't find it. So, but yeah, I just penetrated right through. Yeah, it worked. And as I said, these tools are very, very cheap. But yeah, no damage to the brass right here, so no problem. And of course, now it's the other part of putting the new bearing in. And the reason why I don't have the new bearing right here on the table is because I actually put it in the freezer. So I recommend putting your upgraded bearing into the freezer for, I mean, I had mine in there for like 12 hours and I put this in, and it was just to push it in with your fingers. Okay, so I have the bearing right here. Since I had it in the freezer, I just wrapped some plastic over it to not contaminate any food or anything else. So let's just go ahead and remove it. Here we go. I'm gonna try to be as quick as possible so it doesn't get warm and expand. So now it's super cold and it has shrunk a little bit in size. It has shrunk just enough for us to just plop it right in here with our finger strength. Let's see. Yeah, would you look at that? I did not have to use any strength whatsoever. It was just to plop it in there. And of course, when this has heated up, it's going to sit very nice and snug against the walls of this top mount. This one, as you can see, it doesn't exactly move. It sits in there. There's no way to get it out with just using your hands. So we're gonna give this a little bit of time to heat up. But yeah, this is how I changed the bearings in my top mounts for bearings that don't rust and are weatherproof, unlike the ones that do come in the BC Racing coilovers. Very unfortunate the BC Racing supply these super cheap bearings, as otherwise they make a amazing product. I mean, these coilovers are so cheap, but they do the job amazingly. They're fully adjustable. Why not just put in these rust-free, weatherproof bearings instead of these super cheap ones? I don't know. Whatever, you can change them out very easily, as you saw. So make sure to do these to your BC Racing coilovers to keep them, to give yourself a nice experience, basically. So yeah, that's it.